Welcome. In this class, we will talk about the 30 most expected questions for your geography optional 2019 and 2020. Now, here, the first issue that we would be focusing on is water crisis to water flooding. Over the years, we have seen that pre-monsoon you have the issues related to crisis and post-monsoon you have flooding, and this has become a year-by-year story. So we have to really focus on the cause that has been leading to it, and that is the mismanagement of water resources. So the mismanagement of water resources and the consequences that we have to bear are very important to understand, and that's one of the very probable questions for this time. Also, issues related to environment have been gaining importance as of now, so make sure that you are focusing on issues related to environment very carefully. The next is the issues related to global climate change. Now, most of the problems of global climate change have been acquired to the issue of anthropogenic causes, but there are happenings beyond anthropogenic causes which are affecting this, and that's mainly in the form of extraterrestrial effects and solar irradiance. So very crucial thing that you need to understand why you have climate change coming up because of the extraterrestrial phenomena besides the anthropogenic phenomena. The next important is the contribution of India in the programs of space. So you have the Gaganyaan as the space mission and Chandrayaan as the moon mission. We have covered the lectures separately. Also, landing on the South Pole has been one of the major works that was part of the mission this time. So what you need to focus on is these topics have been important not only for your geography optional in the terms of the space program and India's contribution, but also for your GS. So most of the topics that I am talking about here, let's say issues related to water crisis, water flooding, heat waves, again very important, and then you have the issues related to space programs are important for your GS as well. Amazon Rainforest, this time 16th to 30th September, you have a special edition for Down to Earth dedicated to Amazon Rainforest. We have already covered the class on Amazon Rainforest, a very crucial topic for environmentalists this time. So most probably you would have question which would directly or indirectly be related to it. And again with this you would have the issues of biodiversity hotspot, which I have covered separately as one of the separate topics also. But yes, biodiversity hotspots, so Amazon being one of those, is very important. You have to understand how the climate change or how the human activities that are affecting these areas have an implication on the flora and the fauna. So let's say in India we have Northeast is one of the biodiversity hotspots. We have the project Save Rhino, and most of the time when you have the floods in the Assam Valley, Assam region, you have the issues of rhinos being flown apart, and those are some of the areas where you actually need to focus on. So how the biodiversity is at risk, what are the preventive measures that could be done. Then comes the gender gap report, and also with the gender gap report I have one important topic for you which relates to human geography, but I would pick it up here, and it is the feminist geography. So the concept of feminist geography of late has been evolved a lot, and this is really important. So again I have covered that separately as one of the topics, bringing it up here. Global Slavery Index. You have lots of index that have been released every year. Prelims you have every time question directly or indirectly on the index and the institution that brings out those indexes. So you have the Slavery Index by Walk Free Foundation, and this index basically talks about not only the scenario of India but globally how the picture is, and what are the issues of endangered labor, what are the issues of child labor coming up, and what are the other areas that need to be focused on. Then comes a very essential part of geography which is not directly part of your UPSC syllabus, but yes, you can bring this into your answers, or there could be a direct question on this as well, and that's the role of geospatial technology, where we focus on GIS, remote sensing. Let's say we want to analyze the issues of Aravallis, why the heights have been lowered over the year. Now we can do it by comparing the remote sensing imageries for, let's say, 1960s, 50s and then now, and we can bring out how the changes have occurred in the region. Also, you have the hypsographic curve. Now, hypsographic curve talks about the slope analysis and understanding the area height curve. So, how do we do that? Let's say I have this level and you have the land features and the ocean features. So, this is ocean, this is land. Very rarely you have very high peaks, so Mount Everest on the highest and Mariana Trench on the lowest, but those are very less in number. But what is closer to the sea level, below and above the sea level, the closest area are a lot in number. So you have a curve that comes something like that, where you have a lot of values which are closer to this region and very few values which are extreme. And this curve, if I represent it on a right angle, you have a normal probability curve that could be seen. So most of the area height curves could be given as a normal probability curve, and here is where again you have the implications of geospatial technology that could be used. So most of the hydrographic analysis, the areas, the wetland analysis, the watershed analysis, you have the agricultural analysis, even in the transport where we say Bharatmala Yojana, you have BISAC which is working on the traffic junctions, talking about the areas where you have maximum traffic found through the geospatial technology and being implemented into the transport geography. The next important topic is geography of public policy. In India, we have been focusing on this issue of recent. You have a special edition of geography and you focusing on geography of public policy. So definitely a very, very important topic. And not only this time you had the revised syllabus for your NET JRF exam for geography, and that also includes some of these topics that I have covered. So again, these topics have been important and are important for your examination perspective. India has been a center for medical tourism, not only from the underdeveloped nations where there are not good medical facilities, but also from the developed nations where there are expensive medical facilities. So in either case, India becomes a very good destination for medical tourism, a very emerging center for medical tourism. Not only at a global international level, but also within India, we have the issues of Ayushman Bharat, the wellness centers coming up. So health and issues related to health geography, I could say, has been very, very important and crucial topic for your upcoming examination. A very new concept is the lone eagle cities. The new models of most of the companies is they don't hire office spaces, they lease out the work from home concept, and as a result they have a lesser bearing on the employees. So this concept is what is known as lone eagle cities. So the cities are basically clean with no traffic, no pollution, no issues related to that, but at the same time you have social issues, solidarity, issues related to loneliness coming up, and those are the issues being addressed through social geography and psychology. But this is a very emerging concept, very, very important for your examination perspective. Also, urban geography has been evolving over the years. SOSA's contribution is indeed very, very important. Last year also you had questions indirectly related to SOSA's work, and this year again I believe work of SOSA has been important because urban geography is an area which has been emerging highly, and you have lots and lots of problems which are directly related to the issues of urban geography. When it comes to health front, as I already said, malnutrition is one of the major issues. We have the Poshan Abhiyan in India, also important for your GS. Biodiversity hotspots I have already explained, and then you have PepsiCo potato case. So here we have the protection of plant variety and the Farmers' Right Act that comes into play. So it's all about the intellectual property protection in agriculture, the intellectual protection in agricultural section, and you have the case that could be directly asked as one of the questions, or you can bring about this as your explanations in one of the answers for agricultural geography. Again, we have seen environment, as I said, is one of the major concerns. So plastic pollution, not only is banning of single-use plastic in India that is being planned for 2nd October, but also we are talking about the plastic pollution and its implication on the on the ocean life, ocean creatures, basically, how it has been adversely impacting the life there, and that would affect the global system. So plastic pollution and e-waste, both of those are equally important. Aravali's, degradation of Aravali's, we have already focused on. Climate resilient agriculture. Now over the years we have seen that most of the crops are not very prone to the changes in the climate. They are not easily able to adopt themselves. For example, wheat, rice, they have a very narrow range that they can withstand. However, on the other front, we have crops like coconut, which can stand extreme of temperature, and even with the climate change we have seen increase in the production on coconut. So we have to find out which crops are more suitable, how we can bring or how we can genetically modify the crops to make them much more climate resilient, or we can enhance the agricultural systems in order to bring a kind of climate resilient system. The issue of 1st to 16th September Down to Earth focused on desertification. So United Nations Summit to Combat Desertification again is a very crucial question for from your contemporary section. Issues of heat wave that struck India during the summer months. So you had the most ever extreme heat waves that India had witnessed for 2019. Heat waves and climate change, and with climate change you now have the issues of vector-borne disease. We are talking about creating the country or making the country vector free, but at the same time countries like Nepal, cities like Kathmandu, which are at an elevation of nearly 1400 meters, which have never witnessed vector-borne diseases, people are not aware about diseases like those, have started to witness those. The reasons primarily being are a lot of urban migration. Urban living conditions have not been hygienic. Also longer wet spells. So you have the rarity in the monsoon that has been seen, because of which you have longer wet spells that are seen, and as a result of these longer wet spells you have more of vector-borne diseases, which are now causing a kind of global phenomena increasing significantly. So very important topic. When it comes to physical geography, we have issues of glacier melting, again related to your environmental geography, but here we have the issues that have been seen in the region of Sikkim in India, where you have the melting of the glacier which has led to flooding conditions, and this is what is known as GLOF, again very emerging concept. When it comes to ecology, you have the concept of deep ecology, moving from the scientific ecology to a concept of deep ecology, seen mainly in the Sherpa communities in the mountain areas. So these Sherpas consider some of the mountains to be so sacred that they won't even climb those in order to protect the sanctity of those mountains and protect the flora and the fauna in those mountains. So that's what is deep ecology. It comes from deep within, and it could only be imbibed from one person to another by preaching it or making people aware about it. Transport geography, as I mentioned, is very important. In the class on 10 common mistakes, we have talked about the case study of Finland, where you have the concept of day fine and progressive fine with the income tax. So transport geography, traffic issues, very important this time. So in that line you have the spatial interaction models by Hurst, Ullman. You have the graph theory, basic concepts of node, Bharatmala Pariyojana and Sagarmala Pariyojana, very crucial for your examination. Climate change, environment, as I mentioned in the very beginning, a very crucial topic. So geopolitics of climate change, how it all works. In India, you have one nation, one election, the focus on electoral reform. This has been a special supplement for geography and you. So very important this time. Focus on this very carefully. Hypsographic curve we have already talked about. So when you have the hypsographic curve, again think in this fashion that let's say you are talking about mountains. These mountains start to erode. So slowly and gradually the height decreases and all the sediment load is taken to another place where it starts to deposit. So it's a kind of constant evolution and the formation of slopes and landforms. So slope development theory, Davis-Pang, very important. You have the concept of feminist geography we already discussed, the basics of hydrology, and in the issues of human geography, welfare geography, postmodernism and positivism are some of the important concepts that you need to focus on. So this was a quick summary on some of the important topics that I have been discussing with the students over the past few months. And also if you have any doubts, any questions, feel free to post those in the comment and I'll be personally responding to those. Have a wonderful day ahead.